Ladies and gents, welcome to what I think will be a really fun best of 5 quarterfinal. Now, this is the final quarterfinal for an event called Return of the Clans. Shout out to Nova and Huey and everyone who's been involved with this. It's a 5K tourney. I think it's been really fun to play and cast. And while I haven't been able to get as much of it to YouTube as I would like, I am going to guarantee to my YouTube audience that we will get the best of 7 semis and the best of, I think it's 7, maybe 9 finals to YouTube at some point. And to be fair, I've been so busy, I haven't been able to cast a lot of it either. So I know a lot about these teams, especially the Baguettes. Let's break it down. So starting off for Finland, who I think on paper should definitely come in here as the favorites. We've got Velez, and you've got Velez here playing as the Vikings. He is the flank for his team. His pocket is the Max, Finnish pro, who at one point was seen as the best in Finland. At this point, I think he's clearly number 2 behind Velez. And wow, we got the big boys here too. We've got Zupi as well. Zupi playing as the Japanese here in the blue. I was thinking maybe we'd have Rubenstock here. No offense, by the way, to Rubenstock. You know I love you, bro. But Zupi, I think, is definitely the better player. Up against Zupi, we've got Margu, an up-and-comer from France. You probably remember Margu playing in some of those games that was on my YouTube channel when they played Gamer Legion in the group stage. Margu's Lithuanians. Margu coming out here with 2 villagers next to the dock. Okay. Very far away from Margu, we have Anno. Anno's actually a German player, so I will call these guys French from time to time because there's a lot of Frenchmen, but Anno's a player who's very experienced in team games and plays with these 2, and he's Malians. Then here in the pink or the purple or magenta or whatever, we have Sato, who's playing Japanese, and the map is called Heartland. So there's a lot of fish in the center, and different teams have taken different approaches. So some teams will have everyone dock in Dark Age, everyone go fast feudal into water play. But what a lot of teams are doing is they kind of have separated roles, which normally come down to the players who are closest together going land, like this here, right? You could easily see Vikings versus Japanese and having like an archer war here. And then the players who are furthest apart, which we call as the pocket player, the player who's in the middle of the team, right? This player tends to go for the water play, opening with galleys or something in feudal. What we're seeing here is every single player has docked. Margu is not German, he is French. I did not call Margu German. At least I don't think so. I was talking about Anno, but maybe I misspoke. Now, there is already a weakness we need to talk about, as Sato sees this villager and could kill this villager. The villager's not loomed. The thing that is going to make this awkward for Velez, beyond potentially losing a vill here to Sato, is the fact that Vikings can't make fire galleys. And we see a quick wall here from Velez. He does actually save the villager. Sato's going to be frustrated that villager wasn't killed. But on the bright side, there wasn't a lot of food brought in from that shorefish. It's actually super awkward to be able to wall this, because you could wall here and here per se, but you can't wall on the marsh. So the scouts could still run over the shorefish, so it doesn't really keep your villagers safe. Great work there, though. But yeah, and over on this side, we've got Lithuanians on the front up against the Japanese. So very similar civ picks. It's just Malians and Vikings that are the standouts for the civilizations. And yep, looks as though Sato ran away from his shorefish, like I just said. Feudal Age uptime for Max is pretty insane here, guys. And Max is normally known for going scouts, but here he had a really solid build order. So Lithuanians start with plus 150 food, which means you don't need to take food right away, and he didn't. He sent everything to wood at the start, which meant he had a very fast dock and a lot of fish. And he's actually 1 vill faster than Margu, who's done a similar thing. Look at them, abandoning all the meat. They said, forget about it. That's 230 food rotting away. But what they know is there's plenty more food out there available with the fish, and they do not want themselves and their teammates to lose the fishing ships. Okay, I would think that the Viking player would probably go for a barracks, but we're not seeing that. And we actually have a barracks from Sato. So Sato is going to go man-at-arms and or archers. We'll see. It looks like he's making militia. Obviously, game 1, quarterfinals, expect some nerves, expect some small mistakes here, potentially. And whoa, what's happening over here? Zupi trying to either steal or attack the buffalo. And he is going to kill them, guys. Now, you can only kill them if they belong to the enemy. And okay, now he's going to run away. He could potentially lose his scout here now. And he knows that, so he's just going to turn around and fight. That was a funny moment for Zupi, as Margu is not opening up on water. Margu's going fast archers. And that's what I would expect from this team throughout the series, by the way. They've got some pretty aggressive build orders. They gave Gamer Legion some problems. As you have Velez noticing this. And Velez, I thought was going to go 2 docks. Velez did not. But expect Velez to be behind on fish if fire galleys come out. But it's like, you want fire galleys. You want an archery range. So what are you going to choose? And here come the very quick Japanese man-at-arms. High pressure stuff. Will Velez get the walls down everywhere? And the answer is yes. So good. So crisp and so clean so far. Whereas over on this side, we have Zupi going double dock into fires, guys. And then we're going to have Max opening up with galleys. So it is advantage Finland on water. But if they can't keep these archers out, if they can't stop this from getting some damage in, they're going to have some big problems. I think this is where Margu should have scouted this. And Margu should see the walls, and Margu should send them archers. Yeah, see that? Margu will be frustrated that this is all but closed at this point, but Margu is trying to use the time window that's available now and block it off. This is so good. Block it off. Engage. You can kill villagers here. You can kill villagers here, Margu. This is amazing. And now Zupi has to go for the tower. So now it's like disaster land because your barracks didn't complete, so you can't make an archery range for any defense. And you haven't even won water yet, because then you're going to have Anno doing his thing on water with 3 docks. So if Anno can hold and defend the fish for his ally here, and then also ideally defend the fish for Margu, which it seems like is impossible, then it could be okay. I still have the man-at-arms over here if there's an overchop. Oh, wait a second. Guys, Sato sees the tree. Check it out. Check this out real quick. I know everyone's like, oh, okay, high-level Age of Empires, pressure, pressure, pressure. Let's talk about the specific knowledge to, as you're doing everything else, click the tree, okay? Clicks the tree, sees there's 6 wood, and watch. He sits out of the vision, he waits, and then he goes in to block it off. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, that is such a beastly move. And it's so unfortunate that there was such a tight gap as Man-at-Arms couldn't fight, but that was still such an epic play from Sato. And he will get at least 1 villager kill here. And now you have Max off of wood. And that is not going to be a situation that's going to be good for Max, as he's trying to compete on water right now. Wow, what a beastly play. And this is how Deceptive Baguettes like to play. Like, this is kind of a newer team, but they don't like to rely on the fish booms as much as these other players out there. They're all in with aggression. Believe me when I say it's not fun to play against. And while Zupi was able to get back to his gold, while Zupi was able to get his barracks, while he's on the way to a range, he is still scrambling. And now Velez sends his first archers over to defend. And now, oh, great pickoffs from Velez, actually. I was going to say, he's running into this army. But Velez has been beasting it up over there. So the man-at-arms distract some archers. Sato will be happy with that. His main focus will be here, where he has been out-microed by Velez. And, you know, a little bit of Age of Empires history, by the way. I mentioned earlier something about how Max used to be seen as the best in Finland. There was actually a time where Zupi was seen as the best in Finland. You guys probably didn't know the game was back at that point. It was like 2015, 2016. He was carrying in all the big team game tournaments. Crazy. Well, I would be very happy with this opening if I were the Baguettes, because now you look at Anno's position, and because of all the distractions Sato and Margu put out, these galleys are going to get some quality snipes here. And Margu also has army that he's been able to loop over with Sato now. And oh, that's so annoying, because now this army could threaten the Max on the woodlines again, where Max has added towers now. But man, this pressure just seems like it is never going to stop. And you now have Max on the way to Castle Age. This is where Max, I think, will shift into a stable, because he is going to lose water. I do not see how he can continue to make water. He will lose all of his fish. Same with Zupi. And behind this, Anno can always click up to Castle H2. And there goes Anno. This is, I mean, not only advantage for the Baguettes, but a massive advantage for the Baguettes now. But Max knows that he can at least snipe the fish. This is a very good moment for him. He knows he's going to lose water, so he wants to make it so at least the opponent has to make more fishing ships. This is a smart move from the Max. Obviously, Zupi will lose his. Max lost his fish. Then here comes Sito, but Max making it so it's not going to be quite as bad at the end of all this. And great job, Max. Wow, that was awesome. You got all of them. And Anno even knew it was happening, too. Meanwhile, over here, we've got a small group of skirms for Zupi. That will not be enough. And this is going to be taken care of, most likely. However, with 4 skirms with armor, you can do a decent amount of damage here. I just don't think it's ever going to be enough. You'll end up losing the skirms, and Margu will still be on the way to Castle Age. Why is it that Margu's on the way to Castle Age? Well, it's because Margu didn't spend any food. Just made archers, which cost wood and cost gold. Also, of course, has had pretty good eco. Hasn't had to wall up as much or focus like Zupi has on some of these tiny little details. Big army here for Velez, who also hasn't clicked up to Castle Age. Had a similar problem. Had to make skirms, lost fish, and has been on the defensive. I talk about it a lot, how skirms are kind of weak in team games. We'll see if Velez can find some value with these archers. And let's see if Anno hears about this, because Anno's going to have knights, right? Anno could really clear this. Little force over here. Max didn't know about it. Margu has had these archers over here for a while, but hasn't shown his hand yet. And he just knows. He just sees it. I know I have a tendency to get excited about players and hype them up and all this stuff, but I told you guys week 1 about Deceptive Baguettes, and I told you that they are a team that is serious, man. Great value there from Margu. At great defense here from Sito. He will clear these archers. Now they have 1 water. You should see Anno add a few fishing ships out. He's doing so. He also has the second TC. He's also got knights. And Zupi's still 90 seconds away. Velez is still 90 seconds away. Sito says, no! Not Sito. Get out of here. And look at the quick walls! Look at the... Okay, he failed because he wants to make average players feel better about themselves. He failed that one. Great defense here. Great defense here as well. He will actually need some support because he doesn't have archers. But how he does that all at the same time, I'll never know. He will run away, and here's Anno in support. Yeah, Baskets in my chat says it's great to see the team of rising top players doing well. Well, you know what's especially exciting about this team? Is the timing of it all, right? We are at a time right now where there are many people who have stopped, like there are people, some high-level names who we've been familiar with, not playing the game as much, or focusing on other games, or expressing that they're burnt out, or whatever. And all those things might be valid, whatever, everyone's different. But this is a team of players who are taking advantage of that. Like, Margu's been flying on the ladder, right? If it wasn't for that weird caster official dude, he would have been probably a big threat to Capwatch in Masters of Socotra. You had Sito, who's been top 10, top 15 for a year or two, but he's capitalizing. So this team, like, they looked at this tourney and they're like, yeah, you know what? We can really do a lot here. And they came up with strategies which have really shook the best of the very best. So I'm rooting for this team. And yes, you're damn right. I mixed in a way to compliment myself in that because we got wrecked in Game 5 against Game Religion, which made me sad. So yeah, I mean, sorry to get off course of what's actually happening in the game, but there's a reason I really like this team because I like their strategy and I like their synergy. And while they have been around for years, they are still kind of new kids on the block. So Margu, let's talk positives for him right now, right? He is ahead of Zupi in both military and eco. That's exactly what you want. You don't need anything else. And Margu's the type of guy to go like 3 or 4 ranges and just keep going aggressive. That's all he needs to do. Anno's got a fish boom, which is just insane. And Anno's got TCs. So what you need right now if you're Anno and Sito is maintain this situation. Keep this situation as is for the next 5 to 10 minutes and you will have such a big economy over the Max, who's back here with no fish boom, that one of these two players is going to die, right? So, I mean, I'm looking at the military count. I'm looking at the eco count. I really don't see what Suomi can do beyond getting sneaky raids in that, in theory, shouldn't happen. Like, look at Sato. He's leading the way with the man-at-arm right now. He's leading the way with the man-at-arm so he could go with Margu. But, like, this is the type of thing you need, right? Zupi runs forward. He gets a kill or two. This is the type of thing that shouldn't happen, but needs to happen for Finland to have a chance. Yeah, I think like, I would never add this many fishing ships. He's somehow up to 18. Like, that feels like a little excessive, but, I mean, holy moly, he's got food coming in. And he's going to get horse collar now so he can switch into farms. I think this is potentially where we see the GG called. Like, Finland's already know their situation's bad, right? Knights show up here, but now crossbows arrive, and now Velez is going to lose even more. I think this is where they might call it. Zupi simply couldn't track this army. He still can't deal with this over here. And now it's just even a bigger lead for Anno and Sato. What are you going to deal with? This? Or are you going to deal with this? It looks like the answer is this. Max must have a few relics over here with Lithuanians because he's got plus to attack. But Margu says, okay, hey, teammates, you can run into someone else now because I'm going to run away. I've got his army here. Oh, is it trapped? Actually, I think there's a hole there, but the GG's called anyways. And yeah, they realized it was over. That was amazing. That was amazing. Well played to Deceptive Baguettes. They open up the quarterfinals, and they have surprised the opposition. Now, here's where we get our questions answered about the Deceptive Baguettes. Because they got impressive victories over Gamer Legion, but the best of the best always have a way of clawing their way back in a series. This is just one game. So as we look at the home maps and the civs or whatever, is Deceptive Baguettes, are they going to be able to remain consistent, especially on maps where maybe there isn't any opportunity for how they play? Like the early aggression with the archers. What if Black Forest is one of the maps? What if Bedouins or something's one of the maps? We'll see, okay? And I'll talk about that. The benefit here, guys, is that there's no delays because these are wrecks and they just happened, haven't seen them. So we can briefly talk about it. I can talk about the pros and cons. As a caster, I'm feeling really good right now. I feel like there's no delays and I can really get down to business. And I hope, obviously, all you guys watching enjoy. So economically speaking, I mean, we kind of touched on it, but it was just a massive lead at this stage for Anno compared to Max. Ended the game there. Where's his total? Yeah, with like 60-something eco. Am I missing something here? Doesn't it normally show? I'm sorry. I don't know how to do my job. Anyways, I guess we can just go back to here. Yeah, he had 66 eco. And Max was about to take some pretty heavy losses. Velez was super far behind too. And I think Zupi, also was just not in a great spot. They win that game. We go to the maps now. And what do we have picked by Suomi? The thing is, Suomi's good with the whole archer meta too. But wow, okay, so we have Suomi has Nomad and I can't say this. Huachina? Hua, okay? And then Deceptive Baguettes will have Coliseum and Bedouins. Now, Coliseum, you're going to see some crazy archer builds when that map comes. When we see Bedouins, we are still probably going to see archers with something like knights. But we'll get there when we get there, if we get there. Actually, it is guaranteed that we will at least see one of those games, even if Deceptive Baguettes 3-0. But I don't expect that to happen. Game number 2 will be Nomad. And the civs that can't be picked throughout the whole series are at the top of your screens there with Indians, Ethiopians, Spanish, Persians, Franks, and Magyars. Game 2, let's do it, my friends. Here we are. Okay, so I do, there was a roster change. The Finns are gonna bring in Ruben stock, so I do actually need to change this real quick. Okay, Deceptive Baguettes, and then we have Finland. And yeah, perfect. Let's go. So no surprise to me that Rubenstock's been brought in for Nomad because Zupi is not necessarily a player who thrives with the chaos. And Deceptive Baguettes, they're sticking with their squad, which they have done. They actually had 6 players on their team. And I think I've only seen these 3 play, at least in the later stages. We had a Nomad game earlier today where the players were all in the same spot, but this looks pretty spread out. We've got Rubenstock for Finland playing as the Koreans over here. Very far away from the others. Down here, you've got Velez for Finland playing as the Berbers in the south. And then in the very north, you've got Max. Max is playing Malians. And there's actually a crossing here. So Max and Rubenstock can access each other if they want to. This is a very fun Nomad generation. Also, by the way, to my viewers who are watching live right now, are you hearing any background noise? I'm going to assume no because no one complained about it, but let me know. For Deceptive Baguettes, you've got Berbers for Sato. In the red, you've got Margu, who's playing as the Koreans as well. And then down here in the south, and this is maybe one of the more important areas, we're going to have Vietnamese for Anno. And I want to show you this, guys. When Anno's TC is completed, Anno is going to see something that is taking advantage of a Vietnamese bonus, maybe the main reason they'd pick Vietnamese. And he now sees the town centers. I forget if he sees it when his TC is up, or I guess it's theirs. Yeah, of course. It's when their TCs are complete, he will know where the TCs are. So he says, hey, team, there's Rubenstock. Hey, team, here's Velez. And then he's going to say, hey, team, there's the Max. So he's signaling around, and that's pretty important. You can hear some guy talking over the game. Yep, sorry about that. I can't fix that. I do have to sneeze, though. Okay. Sorry. There's someone... One of my neighbors is, like, mowing his lawn or something, and I think it's somehow making its way through the window. Which is why I'm sneezy. And that's why I asked if you could hear something. The other thing is dock positions. So you've got, let's go the whole way around. You've got a dock here for Margu. I think it's particularly important that the Korean players have safe fish if they want to go fast castle. So that's an interesting spot. Here you've got Anno's dock. So Anno and Margu are on the same side. And then here you've got Velez next to Max. So this whole line here is huge. Like, honestly, in Team Game Nomad, whoever wants to prioritize water could get a big lead here. You loop around further. It's way on the other side. You've got Sato playing Berbers on water. And then Rubenstock's fish are very far away, or is very far away from where he is. There are penguins on the shoreline. Yes, they don't do anything except look cute, though. And occasionally block the pathing of your units if you run by them. But just part of the map here. It's nothing really to stress on. I could do a David Attenborough quote or like imitation. Sorry, I can't think of words today. I would totally do that right now. Okay, so here's something else to bring up that's always important to think about. So Malians was used in the victory in Game 1 by Deceptive Baguettes, okay? So they can't play with Malians here. So it is free pick of civilizations beyond the civs that you saw were globally banned, and there's 6. But you cannot repeat them throughout a series. So I think Malians are a top 5 nomad civilization, but they were used in Game 1 by Deceptive Baguettes. So I personally like to see the Berbers, Malians, Koreans stack over the Koreans, Berbers, Vietnamese stack. Now, that's not necessarily... It does depend on how it's played out, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Typically, you're going to have one person go for fast castle unique unit, one person go for full water control, and one person go fast castle into a boom with TCs and knights. That would be in an ideal scenario what you do in 3v3 Nomad. So what I'm going to guess here is for Finland, you have Max go for the fast castle I mentioned. Even though he is kind of squished, that might not be good. We'll have Rubenstock go fast castle unique unit, like war wagons. And then we will probably have Velez go water with Berbers. But I guess you might want to go camel archers with Berbers too. I don't know. It's tricky. What's particularly tricky is you don't know... You know the enemy's here now because he's scouted with the sheep, but he doesn't know exactly who it is. And you will know that the enemy is aware of where you are. I think gold could be a problem for Velez, because he'll want to take this hill. Probably just going to wall this off right now. Rubenstock's sitting pretty over here, man. I think normally you could have Rubenstock go water, but he's so far near the corner, you might want to get someone like Velez, who's probably going to... Like, Velez and Max are in the same spot anyways. So it makes sense to fight for this area, because that is the area where one of your allies already is. Yeah, I can't give you guys any tips on how to weaponize penguins. I'm sorry on that. Thanks for asking. I know you guys see me as the expert for not only Age of Empires, but, you know, farming and, you know, real-life events like penguins. But I'm not that guy. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe because of Max's position and because of how flexible the Malians can be with the cheaper docks, Max is going to be the one that will go water here. His starting villager is going to add the dock. And so we'll be Max on water. And then you've got Rubenstock. Did I just drop? I apologize. I think I disconnected. This happened the other day. Am I back, guys? I'm sorry for the pause here for those of you who might be watching this video later. Am I live right now? It says I'm live still, I think. I'm very confused. Hey, they're saying rip stream. Last time it was my PC's internet. This time it's not my PC's internet. Oh, God. Why is this happening? Okay. So I'm going to just restart this, YouTube. I apologize. This is really annoying. I have no indicators of why that happened. It just said OBS disconnected. So maybe it's OBS. I didn't update my OBS. I didn't update it, though, because I was scared that it would cause problems. Okay. Should be good here in just a second. My chat's still, like, saying everything's down right now. Ah, technology, we love you, but when you don't work, we don't love you so much. Let's try this again. All right. Okay, live viewers, I am back. I have absolutely no clue why that happened, but we're going to continue casting, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, you're back, you're back, you're back, because we want to keep the show on the road here. I think. Let me just do one more thing to everyone who might be watching on YouTube. We good? Could you see me now? Okay, no, you didn't get banned. Not yet. You didn't get banned. Welcome back. Thanks for watching. Sorry about that. Weird technology things. Let's go. Okay. So we are back. No clue why that happened. We continue here. Max is going to go water. Rubenstock's uptime, though, has made me a little curious on what he's going to do here. Because he doesn't have a ton of food right now. And Rubenstock doesn't have... Okay, he's going to take the deers. Actually, that would help a lot. If he had that boar, I'd feel like this would be a good fast castle. But he still isn't on stone. So maybe he will plan on taking the stone a little bit later. Yeah, if I could maybe get a ping on Discord as well from... I don't know if a ping on Discord helps. Anyways, guys, welcome back. I'm sorry about that. That was really, really, really weird. Like, the last time this happened to me was my internet disconnected. This time, it was just OBS disconnected. So, next it's going to be the platform disconnects, and then after that, my face is going to disconnect, and then hopefully we get past all the issues. But okay, we have double dock here for Anno. He's going galley opening with Vietnamese. No real solid bonus for that. Okay. You've got another dock for Margu. This is a late uptime for Margu, so this is what I call a redock just for fish efficiency. And Margu is on stone with Koreans. The Berber player here also on stone, so we might have a castle drop from 2 of the Deceptive Baguette players. And Max is looking to hunt down the fish, which makes perfect sense for me. And he has probably heard something about there being pressure down here, and there he sees it. No fletching for either player here, but Max with a very good start to the attack. Oh, this is huge. That combined with the fact he's got fire galleys coming behind is just massive for Finland. Oh, man. Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad for Anno. If anything, he could have run with the weak one to save this one with the other units that are coming out. Margu might need to support on water, honestly. But I don't know if Margu's set up for doing that. So I'd say advantage Finland right now, as you have Rubenstock, the first to Castle H. He's on the way up. He did go to stone. You do mine stone a little bit faster with the, excuse me, I can't use words, with the Koreans. So maybe that's why he didn't go to stone earlier. And this is, oh man, with Velez also on the way up. And Velez having a stable to maybe go for some knights. This is honestly looking really questionable for the Deceptive Baguette team. I know a lot hasn't happened, but all I'm seeing is Rubenstock's going to be uncontested on water for now. He hasn't been hit at all, which means with Koreans, he could add a turtle ship or fires or something. He's going to go for war wagons. You have Anno, who's right next to a player who will be in Castle H with cheap knights. So we'll probably be up against like Knight Siege. And I guess what they really need is they need Sato to drop a castle and kill Max. And they need Margu to drop a castle and mass some stuff to save Anno. Nomad's very complicated, and there's always potential for comebacks on water. Max, though, pretty good in these situations, not allowing it. We'll take out another fire galley. And so Anno looked like a beast on water with Malians game 1. Max looking like a beast with Malians on water game 2. And you can see the micro there to pull away from the repair villager and the KD. I really don't want to look at it right now because I think the resources are going to be important, but the KD is going to be so bad for the Baguettes. Ooh, man. 2 villagers down now to the scout. And this is where, if you're Rubenstock, you now know that Sato has fish over here. So you could just fight for water to take out his fish, as well as having more wagons. So your wagons cost wood, your wagons cost gold, and that's the same with your ships. Also, what's up, Varion? Hey, to everyone who's saying we're back, if you could just explain there was a tech bug and just tell people, because people were like, what's happening? And I don't want to do that because I want to cast this game right now. Now, Margu is sending Vils this way. They know Max is over here, guys. They know Max is over here, but Max is already walled up with stone. And how important was it for Max to get those walls down? Because he did his job for his team. He's trying his best anyways to kill those fishing ships and stop them from expanding. Turtle ship! Nice job from Margu. Love to see it. Yeah, anyways, it's so important he has those walls down. Now he might need to run. He honestly might need to get out of here and run over to Rubenstock's base. Now over here, Rubenstock's fish are still alive. But he honestly hasn't done as much as I expected on water. He stopped producing in favor of wagons, which means he could lose his fish. And Sato has had his fishing ships for a while. It's just all about, can Anno survive now? Because Anno is going to be pressured by the siege and the knights. Looks like there was even a hole here. And Velez just casually adds a TC as Anno's got nothing. Anno went for water control and lost badly and is now up against a player making knights in siege. Worst possible spot you could be in. And now Rubenstock's coming in too. Oh, no. Well, this was important. Getting these villagers away was really important for Anno. Because otherwise, Anno might be at risk of being completely defeated here. Oh, man. I feel so bad for Anno. Okay, is sending villagers after the mango. This is not going to be so good. As the knights now loop in. Oh, rip. Okay, trying desperately. Like, there's 2 castles near the max, but what they really needed was they needed 1 castle near the max and 1 castle near Anno to save him. Look at these wagons, man. These wagons could run right through. Wagons get the armor upgrades for free. All the archer armor comes in for free with Koreans, so these things could run underneath TCs, no problem. And we see transport ship from Margu. And, oh, he's going to transport the wagons around. That's actually really intelligent. Okay. I think Koreans need to be nerfed. I'm not sure Koreans need to be nerfed, honestly. I think the situations where wagons are strong are unique enough where I don't think they need to be nerfed. There's a lot of other civs that, like, Koreans don't have a great eco. They're a little one-sided as a civ. I think, like, both players can make wagons right now. The difference is the fact that Margu or Anno completely lost water. And he's 3v1'd. He's dying on water, or has died on water. He's dying on land to wagons, and to knights and siege. And you've got some camel archers for Sito, but, like, camel archers don't feel like they're ever going to be good enough against wagons, which are tankier. And the timing on it was just disastrous for Anno. So like I said before, thank God Anno survived with something, because otherwise Anno would have been completely defeated there. So Max loops over with his fires, and he will take out the transport, but not before some wagons make it over for Margu. And Max wisely is going to wall this and has relocated to this side. Also going in with demos against the turtle ships. Watch it fall. Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it. Oh! Timestamp that one, YouTube. That was satisfying. And now you've got a massive economy and you could just shift your pressure towards the next player. Like, you don't need to worry about yellow at all now. You just worry about maybe sandwiching Sito in here. Now, I think, I take it back. Did I say yellow or did I say water? I think they need to focus on water this way. I think they need to stop Sito from fishing. And if they do that, that'll be a good decision for them. I'm curious to see how these camel archers fare. So 11 camel archers is 10. Oh, sorry. No, that's... Okay, now it's 11 is 600 HP. Here you've got 12 wagons at 1400 HP. This is before you talk about the base attack, which is higher for the wagons, and the armor, which is higher for the wagons. So wagons, while they do fire a little slower, are just insane. And in some situations with Koreans, you feel the need to go all in. Like, oh, go do everything with wagons and nothing else. But you don't have to here, because you're ahead. So now you can add vills, you can boom, you can be more relaxed. Looks like we have this villager building outposts here, and Rubenstock is signaling, like, hey, maybe there's some stuff over here you can take a look at, Velez. I mean, the Vill count looks good for Sito at 75, but Velez is even higher at 77. So, I mean, as Velez adds TC number 4, he's just putting it all on Rubenstock, mainly, to just hold this. You don't need to kill, but, you know, just hold this position. Force reactions in this case. They're doing fine. It's sad that people miss the turtle ship. Yeah. I mean, it's weird, right? Like, did you guys refresh the stream to come back after the drop? I assume that's what you had to do. I don't know. There was actually a message sent out that there's a known bug right now where streams will randomly drop if a certain option isn't selected. But that wasn't why I dropped last week. That was my internet. And I'm pretty sure I had the option selected, so I'll have to look into that afterwards. Either way, it's not the end of the world. I did stream for many years with crappy Comcast internet, and my stream would drop at, like, the most important moments of community games. And it, let's just say it wasn't so good. I remember those days. It's important to have that perspective, so. It was so frustrating. Yeah, okay, so still keeping an eye on the Max up here. He's actually got quite a bit of eco, but he's got monks just in case anything comes in. So he seems fine. And Margu now has caught up with the wagon numbers temporarily. But Rubenstock just needs to keep Velez alive, because Velez is now on the way to Imperial H. And Velez will want to complete that castle, and obviously for the Deceptive Baguettes, they'd like to push out across the map right now. There were good times and like there were bad times back then. Like, I think it's easy to look back at the good old days and be like, oh, they were good old days. But in some ways the good old days weren't actually good. By the way, I think Rubenstock just accidentally rang the town bell there. I think that's what that was. That's funny. It's a classic thing. So the town bell hotkey default was B. I don't know if it still is for the newer age hotkeys they have the game set with. And then for many of us, when we created our own hotkey scheme. We had B for build. And so if you go to like select your TCs or whatever, and then you try and select the vil, but you misclick the vil, meaning your TC is still selected, and then you press B, it'll ring the bell. Now, you could also just remove the bell hotkey, and that would be the obvious decision, but many people haven't done that. I mean, and I could list off so many players who haven't done that. Doubt still hasn't done that. I've seen him ring the town bell recently. Rubenstock. It's just funny how players who dedicate so much time towards a game can be so lazy. Myself included in that. So Velez is going to go, he is going to go for Camel Archers. And I think what we haven't talked about with the Camel Archers versus Wagon scenario is that since Wagons are classed as a Cav Archer, Camel Archers are a counter to Cav Archers. And I don't remember what bonus damage they get, if any there, but I think that the Camel Archers would be quite strong against these Wagons long term. So, I mean, you can see now that they're dominating. So it makes sense for Veleza to try and do that. That said, Veleza doesn't have many of them. Wow, there's a massive eco lead for Finland. I think Rubenstock is going to need to maybe go for some siege here. Or just continue to go for Wagons and be patient with it. In Wagons, you can make a lot of Wagons off 100 villagers. You can't do much with 25 villagers if you're Anno. And it all started when he fell behind early feudal, and then he was right next to a player. That's the worst. When you're told to go water, you lose water, and then you're next to a fast castle player. That is the absolute worst case scenario. And Finland did precisely what I said, right? They had one person go fast castle in the night and boom, one person go fast castle unique unit, and the other person go fast castle or fast feudal water. That's what we've seen here, and it's worked really well. Now Max is about to be an imp. And Max is going to want to contest this area. So for Sito, he wants to push Max, but he also kind of wants to go this direction too. He's got a pretty big army here. This needs to be dealt with. It's all up in Max's business and Rubenstock's business. Wagons are here for Margu. I mean, so far, so good for Sito with these Camel Archers. I think Velez, though, realizes that this is gonna be fine in just a matter of time. Research the Casbah upgrade and conscription. So conscription means your military units create faster, and then Casbah means your castles work faster. I actually think it's your team castles. I don't think it's just your castles. I think it's team castles. So basically, invested into the long term with that. I don't think we've seen that yet from Sito. And Sito, oof, getting wrecked by the TC. And this is all most likely going to go down. Also, no bloodlines for Sito, so fighting without bloodlines, without the upgrades I mentioned, and also without elite Camel Archer. Also, I must have missed this. Anno must have come back on water and sniped. Anno sniped a lot of fish. Well played to Anno there. Max with trebuchets and monks, and he will likely go bombard cannons. Malian universities work faster, so he will complete chemistry pretty soon. He will want to push with bombard cannons, though I still think he might lose his castle. This finally gets dealt with, but I have to say great job from Sito and great job from Margu to at least force something, but they end up calling it. Anno wasn't even in castle yet. It all snowballed early, and I think Max would have been able to hold on enough here and harass enough here, and then Velez probably would have dominated and Rubenstock would have dominated this side. I mean, that would lead to so much of this eco going down. There's very little really going right for them. And score is 1-1. Finland just looked a little better there on Nomad. Okay. Oh, whoops. There we go. I want to go to this scene. Sorry, I actually have some of these stuff on my other screen off because of the weird restart. There we go. I can see chat again. I could kind of see you before, but you were on my other monitor and it was harder to see, so... Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Continuing our cast, Game 3 will be on one of the home maps for Deceptive Baguettes. And it's important to note, it's not on their home map because they just lost that game. It's their home map because the winner of Game 1 gets to play one of their home maps in Game 3. So the format is a little different there. Which I spoke about earlier, I'm not a fan of. But it's not that big a deal. At the end of the day, we get to the same result here. Okay. Got Will. What's up, Alex? Welcome, Movable. Hello. Okay. I got everything sorted now. T90, thanks for helping me sleep. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. That's what I'm here for, I guess. Game 3. What? Didn't they have Coliseum? We'll go Coliseum, surely. Let's do it. I'm not even going to look at my screen that you guys see right now. I'm not even going to look at that crap because I know it's going to be Coliseum. Let's go. Yup, it's Coliseum. So, yet again, I have to change the team names due to the way CA works. Okay, Deceptive Baguettes. And technically it's Suomi, which I think I had Finland last time, but I think they're the same thing, different languages. All right, so here we are. Let's now talk about this and get down to it, because the way Deceptive Baguettes have played this map have dominated so many teams. And I think they should have beaten Gamer Legion in their series at the tail end of the group if they would have located the gold spots. So, wow, they're actually switching up the pocket civs because I guess Magros wasn't available. But you've got Sato on the flank for his team. He's playing as the Britons. In the yellow, you've got Anno. He's the pocket playing as Khmer. And then in the red, we've got Margu. Margu playing as the Mongols. Up against him is Velez playing as the Britons. Then the pocket here for the Max is Khmer. And then you've got the Mongols over here. Wow, so they had the same idea for what civilizations to play. It is kind of the same in that you have Britons versus Mongols on both sides. And then you have the Khmer pocket. So the build order that I think other players are aware of now, I don't think this is going to be a surprise anymore, is that you use all the food that you have available or underneath your TC, and you do not make a mill early on. That's the build order. And a lot of teams will go for walls, or they'll go for 2 lumber camps on the way to feudal age for good efficiency. But nope, we usually do not see that from Deceptive Baguettes. But the way I've seen this countered, and the only real way you can counter how fast they're going to make military, is A, wall it up, or B, you want to make as much army as them, which is basically playing the same way as them. So we'll see. Now, this was not mirrored. They all felt as though these civilizations would be best. It's hidden civ pick, but you can't repeat anything you played with. So overall, it's been the same. I'm trying to think of the fastest uptime that I've seen on this map. I think with Khmer going scouts, because you do need a bit more of eco to go scouts, and you're further away, so you don't have to be as in big a rush. I think we could see 18 or 19 pop. Any other civ, you're normally seeing 19 or 20 population. I think we're going to see maybe 18 or 19 here for Anno. For the archers, what I really like about Britons is that... I guess this isn't Britons. Sorry, this is Britons. What I like about Britons is that you have the sheep bonus, which can help you. But your one archer range works a bit faster. So if you're the Briton player versus the Mongols, I'd almost think you have the slight early lead. I know it's only 20% faster working archer range, but still, like, even if Mongols are up slightly faster, you're going to have slightly faster archer production from one range. So I would say the Mongol players should play a little more defensive. And actually, look at this. I think we are going to see an eventual wall off from Margu. And you can already see that the Mongol player on this side is walling. I don't know if that's why. I don't know if they're thinking of it the way I am. But it makes sense to me. It's a team bonus, T90. Wait, the Briton archer range bonus is a team bonus? It might actually be true. Well then, if that's the case, it comes down to Mongol hunt versus Mongol sheep speed. And at the end of the day, I think it evens out. So it might just be a preference thing for how they play it. It's a team bonus. Oh, okay. Sorry. There's so many details I know, but I forget so many of them. All right, thank you to Remo. Appreciate it, man. All right, here comes Loom for everyone. And, okay, so fastest uptime will be Margu, 18 pop. Right behind that, we have 18 pop for Sato. And we have 17 pop for Anno. Holy moly. Now, you can go up without building the mill in the first place with Khmer. Normally, you would need 2 Dark Age buildings. You can just do that anyways. That's a Khmer bonus. But if you look over here, compared to here, there's a very big difference, right? So Sato has gone for the lumber camp, and the mining camp is his 2 buildings, delaying the mill. And Zupi has not made a mining camp on gold yet. And he's gone 2 lumber camps. Here you've got 1 lumber camp for Max. Here you've got the mill, and you've got the mining camp. So the way that this works for Deceptive Baguettes is saving wood to get more archery ranges, to get archers out faster, to then snowballing the fights. That's the thought process. However, their ecos are going to suck past fletching. Like, they're going to eventually need their berries. Like, there's so many things about this that is bad if they don't do that damage. I think the key here, guys, is not only killing villagers, but the key here for me is taking the archer players off of gold. Because if you take the archer players off of gold, they have to make skirms. And guess what's going to be out there? Scouts from the pocket player with the Khmer farms and all that food. So in the game, and I'm going to keep referencing this because I want you guys to watch it. It's on YouTube. The game between Deceptive Baguettes and Gamer Legion, you had Viper, you had Tato, and you had, I think, Jordan. No, I think it was Doubt. Anyways, Viper had an exposed gold on the front of his base. They didn't scout. They didn't take him off that despite pressuring him. You need to stop them from making archers. Obviously, having good coordination is key, and this looks like these guys are, like, sitting in the same room right now. You've got Max and Velez working together with their starting scouts. And here you've got Anno with his starting scout and his new scout, and they're ready to push out. Over here, you just have 1 range, right? So this is the difference. This is the difference in the way they're playing this out. Also, I think going 1 range fast blacksmith is suicide against this. I think you need to go double range and delay the blacksmith till later. That means you're even further behind in numbers. Now, can they execute here? Can Deceptive Baguettes execute? Can you wall it out? Or you have the same numbers as them. That is how you do it. We do have the walls for Zupi, so there's positives there. And he will have fletching faster, so there's potential for him to fight it off with even lower numbers. Okay, here comes the scout pressure from Anno. I don't like how he's not working with Margu right now. And then over here, you can now see, so Sato should notice this now. He should say, okay, he's got fletching, and he's got to wait a little bit for his blacksmith. Keep in mind, guys, he's going to have to float some wood for the mill soon. His berries are very exposed. Whereas for Zupi, everything's on the back and looking good. Zupi behind in numbers, but not taking any damage. And we have an early tower from Velez. See, that's where I get curious. I'm always very curious on how the teams deal with this. I like the early tower for Velez. And I also like the way the walls are situated because it's far enough away from the wood line where if archers sit outside of it, they can't hit all the villagers. Scout numbers should be similar because they have had similar builds. There should be no major differences there. But they have to pick their spots. And I think Velez, sensing this could be the opportunity, is sending his army over here. And the game sense is just insane. Sees the scout, so he should know. And now Margu sees that he's waiting for him here. And now we've got a big old battle on this side. And it is marginally better right now for the Deceptive Baguettes. Also, here come the archers. I think the archers want to go over to Max's woodline. If I were to guess, I would say that's the case, but now he sees him. Man, look at the micro. To create your units, make your houses, macro well, all of this is just so intense. But Margu is a beast with archer micro. And Margu getting the better of the engagement so far. Snipes the scout. Will have to run away, though, as Margu's pretty far from home base. So far, very close game. I have to say, very well played from Suomi, though. Very well played from Suomi because they didn't die to any early floods. And their economic approach, I think, is going to be looking better at this stage. I think there's going to be a lot of vital TC time for the Deceptive Baguettes team. And I'll actually try and get there, wherever that is on this. And that is kind of standard when it comes to the risks you take with this build. That said, Margu now back on top of Velez. And yeah, you can see the idle TC time. There's big differences there, right? It comes down to not making the mill versus making the mill, essentially. The thing I don't like about this map at times is that sometimes having forward berries or forward gold can just end you. And I feel really bad for Sato because you look at Zupi, and Zupi's got all these back resources, but it's what you do with the map. And sometimes, like, maybe you shouldn't have gone so aggressively. Or I don't know. It's hard to say, right? You do have to change your style if you see a certain thing with the map. But man, that was a good sequence there for Sato. He's got so much confidence with his Archer Micro. Back over here, you've still got Margu moving around. Does have this group. Obviously, this is where scout numbers start to matter. I don't think you can be taking a fight without armor or bloodlines. Sato kind of getting in too deep here a few times. So close enough to the TC to get hit by it, but not actually getting hit by it. And my, oh my, is this close. I mean, it is dead even. Armor is in, but no bloodlines for Anno. And Max just completed bloodlines, armor, forging. He has every single upgrade. How did he do that when he has similar numbers of scouts? How is Max able to macro that well? I'll never know. But in the end, not having bloodlines is such a massive deal here. Usually, if you don't have bloodlines, you're not going to have the scout HP in the fight. But as I look at the fight, it's not going how I thought it would go, and probably not going how Max thought it would go. And now Zupi has to retreat, and Zupi's getting eaten alive, as there also were some archers here from Margu, as he heads towards Max. And Max has just heard about that. He's now dropping a tower. It is 34 military for the Baguettes. It is 18 for Suomi. And as only now Bloodlines comes in, you look over here is the massive team wall that Finland's gone for. And you think, thank God they have that. Because if they didn't have that, there would be some big, big problems for them right now. Now, Margu's probably going to lose this army. This is where uptimes become important. I'll switch back to the player resources. Margu's probably going to lose this army, but if Margu can kill enemy archers or enemy villagers with this army, it'll end up being okay. I say archers because the scout player is going to be flooding scouts already. So if you can like kill some villas here or kill some of these archers here, it at least helps you in the upcoming moments. Uh-oh. Zupi picks off 2 archers there. Great job from Zupi. And yeah, Margu loses that force, and now the military looks a lot more even. Now, what's not so even is the flow of the game, because you've got Margu able to run in again over here. But overall, I mean, it does look like Finland can manage this. Max is making a lot more scouts. You also have the same thing for Anno back behind this, and it looks like Velez is the one that's closest to the Castle Age, as Zupi uses the market. And that confirms my suspicions that he also wants to rush to Castle Age, excuse me. This is obviously a weakness now for Velez because he doesn't have the army numbers over here because they're on the other side. And you're going to see him coming back home. He will see this, though, and he will immediately relocate his wood line. And now he's going to go in for Margu. And Margu's on the way up. Remember, we have Britons for Velez. They get 8 range in the next stage. So Britons are the most devastating civ in early castle. You definitely want your Briton player up, and Sato hasn't clicked up on the other side as they're trying to break through, and they did actually break through. So now Max is off of gold, and Zupi could have some problems here as well. So this is going to be an absolute clear up here for Velez, which will give him potential to do anything he wants in castle, but his team is falling apart. Excuse me. Also, I did mention multiple times, I was like, hey, we're casting Rex because both quarterfinals were happening at the same time. So it's too late now for people who's reading chat. But mods, if we could please delete the chat from the guy who wanted to spoil the entire set we're casting, which is beyond frustrating, but we'll get to that later. The army's going to dive here. And this could really swing either way. Look at this big ball. Look at this big ball. This is going to be crossbows with Bodcanero. There's very little for Margu to stop that. He is adding house walls here, which is great. But, I mean, he needs to maybe consider more than one tower at home. I'm loving this pressure on Zupi, though, because Zupi's going to be up so quick. But can Zupi ever leave? Zupi can't leave his base. Okay, so Max has a lot of scouts, right? We talked about the upgrades earlier. Max has a lot of scouts. So you get a little worried now if you're Sato, because you're thinking, I don't want to lose my army. Now that we see Zupi's up, on one hand, we want to stay here to keep him here, but we don't want to lose our army. So now he backs away. But I think in backing away, guys, I think that gives the opponent the position they wanted. They wanted to be able to breathe. They wanted to be able to move forward with their army. And now all of Finland is moving forward. And now I sense some big, big problems for Anno. Because both crossbow armies Sure, they can dive on the archers, but they could also dive right to Anno. And look, so Anno, as a result of this, has to come home to chase this army. And now look at Max. Max is going to go right in for these archers. And this is, I think, going to be a victory for Suomi. Max, with the perfect positioning, he gets beyond the archers. The crossbows on the other side are going to mop all of this up. And what on earth can you do when the opponent has 31 Britain crossbows, and then you have like 15 Britain crossbows? It gets tricky from here. I guess what you can do is you can have Anno with his scouts get those upgrades, guys. He's getting light cav. He's getting +2 armor. And this could be an army that actually goes down for Velez. You have Margot pushing back. Thank you to the mods, by the way. You have Margot pushing back. And this could be... I could swing right back because Max isn't in Castle Age yet. And this army gets surrounded... And wow, okay. Well, Castle Age has made a difference on both sides. I mean, Max found a reward for making all the scouts, and also Max is going to get the upgrades on his scouts. Jeez. And now the Britain player, we've got a second TC here for Velez, so he should have a good Vil lead, but his archer count's going to take some time to mass. And he also is unable to really help on this side. But Zupi's looking strong right now. Zupi's looking strong. His numbers are looking good. He doesn't want to take any engagements on his own right now, but he falls back to his TC. This is why you bring Zupi in instead of Rubenstock. Rubenstock's a great player, but Zupi can really play these positions well. But the light cav run in. Oh, that's going to be annoying. It's going to be super annoying. Max is going to have to wall and everything. Ooh. Sito is here. You've got Margot here. You've got Anno here. All the Deceptive Baguettes are here. And, well, let's see how Max can damage control, because Light Cav, not the best rating unit ever, but it's certainly better than nothing. There's no rating going on whatsoever for the Finns against the Deceptive Baguettes. A team who 1 year ago, I don't think you would have ever said would have a chance in this series. And Zupi falling back on his own. He does still have good numbers. I still think he can hold this, but I love the attacks there from Anno. This group of Light Cav that's remaining still had 10 kills between them. And look, Velez had to come over to deal with that and help, and it just becomes rather frustrating to have to chase this type of thing down. 88 army versus 91 army. It is 148 eco versus 153 eco. Woo! Oh god, this game is so good, man. I love Coliseum. I think Coliseum is one of my favorite 3v3 maps, honestly. I know it's a little one-dimensional with strategy, because you always have the Archer Scout play, and you don't really see a deviation from that. But my god, is it so fun. We're seeing the difference there with Britons, aren't we? We just saw 3 units go down. Actually, Velez is Britain, so I'm dumb. Never mind. But Britons are good. Caster thinks Britons are good. That's all you need to know. 5 knights for Max versus 19 knights for Anno. They need to go for the kill on someone. There's a whole lot of sitting back from Finland. Well done from Anno, by the way, with his light cav. But I think they should find a stable, and they should just break it down. I know you're like, oh, T90, why go for the stable? You can just go for the gate and run in. Okay, you can do that too. But you got to think their army's going to come over here, right? Look, their army's going to come over here. So if you take out a stable in the meanwhile, then they will have one less stable to produce knights out of. And you never really want to dive because we're worried you're going to get cleaned up. You want to have safe access to retreat. And so they're going to attack the blacksmith. I honestly don't even think they'll dive here. I think they'll take it out, and I think they'll back up. Yeah, they do not want to get pounced on here. That is a lot of army from Zupi. Oh my goodness. It's interesting to take out the blacksmith, though, because now Max won't be able to get more upgrades. But he's already got full upgrades. He already has full upgrades, guys. And now, did they go too far? This is wild. Now, the big difference here is you don't have a lot of knights for Max. It's mainly light cav, whereas there are knights for Anno. It is painful to see the knights not be able to catch the crossbows at all. They just keep getting stuck. This is why we're so dominant with... We see crossbows be so dominant, excuse me. But it was a very close fight. And now Velez comes in, and I think Finland end up clearing that. But it's still so even. It's 87 military now. against 72, so maybe not. Should point out 77 villagers for Velez, who just completed a TC on that crucial gold spot. And I think he needs to start putting that eco into either Imperial Age or more military. Because if you look at Sato's constantly producing army. He's got like 6 or 7 in queue all the time. We just haven't seen Velez be as present in the fights. Honestly, he has not been as present in the fights as Zupi and as Max. Now, granted, a lot of that pressure has been at Zupi and Max's base, so it's understandable that it'd be easier for them to get there. But what's troubling for Finland is they don't actually have the potential to counter. Like, could have gone here, but then you don't know if there's going to be anything there, so you just choose to play defensive, choose to stay with your team. And this is what I talked about a moment ago about diving too deep, guys. Because look at this. They cannot break through here, so it is now going to be 2 against 3. Now, this is what you need. Sato and Anno, you need to run to this corner. You need to stay on the move. And you need your follow-up armies, as there's an army here, there's an army here, to break back in and make them make a decision. This is beautiful Age of Empires. You're outnumbered, so you retreat, force them to chase. Obviously, they do need to deal with this, and then you could send in another group. This is insanity. It's honestly, this pressure is nuts. And as you can see, Max can't really keep up with it. Like, he just lost a lot of vills to that. He lost some knights to that group as well, but they will still clear it. So good job from Anno. He tells the crossbows for Sato, just kill what you can. I'm out of here. And now what are they going to have? Well, Max has been wide open to some pressure here. But Max has dropped down with villagers. And Zupi's kind of dropped down as well. And he could actually lose units here. Still reacting. They do have to react. Finland need to push back. They do have more military for the first time in a long while now. And for some reason, Margu's run home. I don't know why exactly. I think he wants to drop a castle, actually. He's saving up stone. I think he's saying, hey, we're going to drop a castle right there on his gold. I think that's what's going on. So Zupi hasn't dealt with this just yet. He does deal with those knights. Oh, sorry, he did deal with that. Those are Max's knights. My bad. And so look at Finland. They're like, all right, we're going to push here now. We're going to push right out the middle, and then we're going to go to Sato's base. Guys, there's not a lot of gold on this map beyond these 2 gold piles. If you lose this gold pile right now, you are in big trouble if you're Velez. And Margu knows it. He brings forward a dozen villagers and the siege and all of his crossbows, which is obviously a risk for his team. But his team has shifted over here. And look, he goes right underneath the TC. He doesn't even care. He's like, whatever, TC. I don't care about the TC. I just need this castle up. Wow, what a crazy play. And now I think they need to shift back here. I'm not sure if they want to dive fully, because that's a lot of army from Finland. Well, they're diving. They're diving. I was wrong. Now, Sato on the way to Imp right now. Okay, so they are looping back. They realize what could come from this. This is a good play, because you've done so much damage here, and you'll kill all of these vills for Velez, and you can't take gold. So coming back to the safety of your castle was a perfect play. So still random Anno knights running around here. Max still chasing it down. They're probably sick of Anno's knights, as Anno's now imping as well. You've got Velez imping. And Velez needs to get to stone. Velez needs his own castle so he can trev that back. Okay, so now I think your focus shifts to the other side if you are Deceptive Baguettes. If you have Sato imping and you have Anno imping, you pressure fully on the other side. And, you know, maybe another castle forward or something. I don't know. But you're just working your way towards that. And Max is like, I'm simply not going to give you the time. He knows he's probably behind a bit based on how this game has progressed. And so now all this pressure comes in. And now Finland start to dictate the pace of the game a little bit. Velez is just going to sit here. He's going to wait for his own castle. Zupi's going to sit here as well. But look at this. Sato and Anno have to go home. And this is like... This is just what we saw earlier. On this map, guys, in 3v3s especially, offense is the best form of defense. And we have seen that on both sides. So how's your damage control, Anno? Because most of your farmers aren't working. You fortunately didn't get hit on your gold. How much are you going to kill here? We have a castle going up here for Velez, and Margu's diving it. Margu's diving it. I mean, the more crossbows he kills, the better, right? Britain crossbows are more important long-term than the Mongol ones are. But it feels a little crazy for this player to be doing this, though I do like it. Every time I play against Margu, I'm always terrified because he's a wacko, man. He goes for crazy numbers, but he did get hit here. He didn't notice. What a play from Max. And also, Max hit the gold at the same time. So, Max's problem might be army numbers here pretty soon. He might not have the army numbers after he lost it. You could have army numbers be an issue for Margu as well, as Margu is not imping. But what you do have if you're Sito is 64 arbs. 64 arbalest with Britons. And I think even if this castle gets trebbed down, Margu just has to keep it up as long as possible. Just repair it and just hold this position for a couple minutes, and they need to go for the kill on the other side. Max is about to hit Imp. He does have more numbers at home. He's waiting. These are all new, except for that one knight in there. No one likes him anyways. But with Cavalier about to complete, with Armor about to complete, with Arbalest already in, and now Zupi getting castle dropped. There's actually a little army back here too. This could be a problem for Zupi. But honestly, forget about Zupi and just kill the Max. You slowed down Velez. You know exactly where Velez is, right? So you slowed him down. Just sent everything towards Max. That's what I think you do here. He's already getting Hussar because he foresees the fact he's going to run out of gold. We have the crossbows here from Margu, so he's here to support. We've got the Arbalest from Sito. He also is taking all this gold, which is going to be valuable for him. This army does get dealt with, but it's bought a lot of time and space. There's so much army chasing this. And we'll have a castle now from Anno on the front. And guys, Max is getting Cavalier. He's getting armor, but he's not going to have villagers remaining by the time he completes that. Look at his vills go down. And if he hides inside the TC, it's the same result because the TCs will also fall. And Margu has 40 vills and is using 20 of them to just repair castles because he knows he needs to delay Velez as long as possible. And the crossbows from him are actually doing more than the crossbows are doing for Velez. Because Velez hasn't had the gold to get all the upgrades and get Arbalest. Zupi about to hit Imp here in 50 seconds. But these castle spots are just so crucial. 180 population for Sito. It's 150 population now for Anno. I think you just take out the TC. Just take out the TC with something right now, like a couple Cavalier, and then spread the rest of them out. And yeah, the GG's called. Wow. Wow, that was a great game, man. Like, I thought Suomi were going to win initially because they defended so well, and then Deceptive Baguettes came back with army numbers, and then Suomi played well in the Castle Age. That was a crazy, crazy, crazy game. So crazy that it's really hard for me to say what the big difference makers were. But honestly, I think the biggest difference maker was the forward castle thought process. Like, what happens if Margu doesn't go for this castle and get it up? And it was kind of at a risky time, right? Because his team didn't really see all the armies from Zupi and Max. It could have been shifting over towards him. Like, if this castle doesn't go up, Velez will be an imp with Arbalest and gold. And he's at 42 army now. He'd have upgrades, but probably have like 50 or 60, right? So that didn't take Velez out of the game. But that stopped Velez. That froze Velez. It stunned him. He had to recover. And so Margu is already going to lose that battle because Mongols don't really do well with foot archers compared to Britons anyways in the long term. So he's like, okay, I'll like kind of sacrifice myself in what ways I have to. And then I'll let my teammates do the rest. And that's exactly what happened. You know, a stat I'd love to see is actually total army created this game. Do we have that? Here's the KD for you. You can see that the KD was slightly better for Sito, right? Slightly better for Sito, and maybe that was the difference. I mean, Max's KD was 142 to 142. Margu's KD was 145 to 149. Do we have an overall KD stat? Does that exist? I don't think we have that anywhere, right? That would be crazy for this. Maybe someone in the YouTube comments later can tally it up. Okay, economically, Citeaux had more gold. Citeaux had more stone. You look at Velez. Velez had less stone. Velez had less gold. I honestly think it was gold control. The mining control was huge. Also, Anno played out of his mind with the light cav raids, and the splitting up of armies was really sick. But yeah, with economy and villagers in 1v1s, I have this stat, and it says villagers max, and then villagers total. And I'd really like to see that for army, right? Like, what was the highest for any one player at one point in time? Army high is there, but then like, oh, you have it here. Okay. So the total army in the game for Citeaux was a bit higher. And the total army for Margu was on par with the Britain player. Yeah, they just outproduced a little bit. But obviously you have to have the eco. I think more importantly, I think you have to have control. And Deceptive Baguettes are now one game away from making to the semifinal. This is a new-ish team, and they're up against an established team in Finland. This would be a great, great result for them if they could win this game or maybe win the next game. Sorry, I got to change the scoreboard here. And I, for one, am hyped. There was nothing, barring huge disasters to family members, that would get me to leave my computer right now. If I got a couple bad phone calls, I'd probably leave the computer. Let's be real. And that crossed my mind as I was about to say, nothing would make me lose the computer right now. Or leave the computer right now. But anyways, that took a dark turn. Let's go game 4. Game 4 is on Huachina, which someone told me, surprise, surprise, I don't know how to pronounce. I'm shocked to hear that I don't know how to pronounce it. But this is a map that I actually think, even though it was picked by Suomi, could be very good for the Baguettes. They will play it similarly, I feel. Okay, hold on. Capture Age is freaking out for me. And here we go. What if an alligator ate your internet? Okay, I might go offline if an alligator eats my internet. Okay, so they keep the same players. Let's do the introductions. We've got Velez, flank, playing Portuguese. We've got Max playing Huns as the pocket. And then here you've got Zupi playing Vietnamese flank. This is sick, actually, in terms of team bonuses. So they have Portuguese, which means they can see what their allies doing all the time. So free cartography in Dark Age. They also have Vietnamese, so they all can see where the opponents are and their town centers. And here in the pink or magenta, we have Citeaux. Citeaux is playing as the Mayans. In the yellow, we have Huns for Anno. And then in the red, we have Margu playing Portuguese. Now, in the center of this map, this becomes very important. You've got fish, okay? And I've seen many different games on this. I have seen, games that I have played on this, where I played Pocket for Los Machos. I also watched Miguel play Pocket with different flanks. I've watched other teams play this. And I think the general consensus is, if you don't dock here with the Huns or with the Pocket position, you are a fool. And I say that because we lost a game. Our team's thinking was we would not do that, and we lost a game that we looked back on later and said, well, should have been us in the semifinals if we would have done that against Gamer Legion. So Huns don't have to make houses, but they also start with minus 100 wood, so it's a little tricky. But the idea is you send 4 to wood. Instead of milling, you go out here and you dock. So if both Pocket players dock, I'm then curious on how they can test water. Because after you get loom, you only have 50 gold in the bank. And 50 gold in the bank is only enough to make 1 fire galley. So the kind of funny thing or silly thing about the middle is what we might see is they both make 1 fire galley. They both go into the fight, and then one person wins. And then like a 1 or 2 HP fire galley clears up 8 fishing ships. Like, I really hope that doesn't happen. But we'll see. And Velez is going to dock. Okay, so this is not something I've seen yet. I've not seen the flank stock yet. I have mainly seen just the Pocket player stock. Because it makes you think, is there really enough fish to fight over with multiple players? Maybe, I guess, back to my fire galley conversation, you have Velez make 1 and Max make 1. And then maybe you can overwhelm early. I don't know. Oh, God. Okay, they're gonna mill. Okay, I disagree with this. But it does bring this to a position where, and this is where Deceptive Baguettes thrive, if they don't do damage early, they're going to be behind when it comes to fuel age pressure. And, you know, that's how all their build orders are designed, so it's not too bad. But I'm going to tell you, just remind you why docking is so important. So it comes down to eco units, right? And you can see right here, Velez has one more eco unit than his opponent. And he's going to have another eco unit over his opponent because his TC is always creating villagers and his dock is creating fish. So if you lose a villager, or even lose 2 villagers, which would be really bad later on in the game, you're still even. And it's quite nice, too, because you're already going to be spending or sending a lot of wood and gold villagers. Or, sorry, a lot of villagers to wood and gold because you want archers. And it just feels so nice because you already have wood and gold to then make fire galleys, if need be. So I really think that it is worth it on this map. And you can see Finland looking, and they're not seeing any docks. And they're going to be like, what? Free victory for us? What? See, what happened was, when we played it, we were in a very similar spot. Miguel was pocket, and Tato was the opposing pocket. And so you see the difference in uptimes here? This is fairly standard. The dock play will lead you to a later feudal age, which means a later stable, right? However, come mid-feudal, it's normally easier for the Hun player to be in a spot where they have the food for 2 stables. So you fall off a little bit early. You tell your teammates, okay, don't move out. Don't be too aggressive. Just stay at home. And then the dock player can afford to add 2 stable scouts. And then it's even. And then they even pull ahead. We'll see, though. I've spoken an awful lot about my opinions. That is my job as a caster. I am also wrong many times. Deceptive Baguettes looking to make it to the semifinal here. And we'll see if this works out for them. Did they scout that, though? I want to see. Okay, so they're scouting now. Okay, so they're going to see the docks. Over here, we have Archer opening for Sato. But he didn't scout. Oh, boy. He didn't scout. This is going to be men-at-arms from Zupi. That said, Zupi's scouting isn't that great either. Because he doesn't see anything he can hit right now. Wood is normally the resource you want to find because these wood lines are super tiny and hard to lock down. Okay. Now, this could be good for Sato because he hasn't invested in the militia. And if he just walls this out, he'll have archers. Obviously, there will also be archers for Zupi, but still could be fine. Something tells me he didn't see it because there's been no walling here. And Max also has a scout. Oh, God, man. This is a scouting problem, right? We could talk about the docking all you want, but this is a scouting problem. And this is going to be awful. You have the team effort on that villager. We now have the team effort on this villager. Zupi's probably like, I'll block, I'll block, I'll block, I'll block. They block. Another villager could go down. Zupi's like, I got it. I'll block. Don't worry. You attacking. Oh, God. Oh, and he was off of wood, too. So now he goes to the stragglers. Oh, that hurts so much. And Zupi didn't even research men-at-arms. He's like, well, they'll die now to scouts. Yeah, that's something Sato will be kicking himself for, and that just comes down to not scouting it. So let's look, though, right? This player is going into farms. This player is going into farms. Let's see when the Hun players can justify a second stable. A crazy start for Finland. Meanwhile, over here, this looks like an archer went down for Velez, but he's not able to push in too far here. Margu. Max will probably just run away. Meanwhile, you just add fish. You keep an eye on the center. They docking? Nope. I'll just add fish. Massive economy lead right now. That said, Anno has quite a few scouts. He hasn't had to change his focus at all. Like, in theory, if you can handle the dock and the land balance, then it is best. But it's also not easy to do. It's definitely more difficult to do that. And Deceptive Baguettes have more military now. Double ranges for Sato. And you see all these walls for Zupi, as he's only on 1 range right now. Zupi did early damage, but doesn't have the cheaper archers like Mayans do. Meanwhile, over here, Margu. Margu's the type of player to try and run away and get to Max's base with this. But yes, it very much looks like this is still doable for Deceptive Baguettes. Zoopy, when have we seen this before? He fails to get the walls down, and he's going to need some support from the Max. And the Max is here right now. So Max will have bloodlines. That's not something Anno can afford. Anno's got 7 on food, and there's 17 on food for the Max. But they're going to dive. And Zoopy's like, which way we going here? He's going to run this way. He's going to run that way. Max is still probably like, you didn't lose Phils. This is fine. You lost 1, maybe. That could have been so much worse. Max will have armor now, and he will have bloodlines, so his force is stronger, but great control. We now have archers for Margu headed this way. And now we have fire galleys for Anno. And so Anno's going to pressure the fish. Now, you can also say that probably 500 to 1,000 food has already been brought in from the dock. So I don't know if contesting it now is something that I love, but it is better than nothing. So great job, Anno. Max will have to recover there. And Max also has to deal with everything else. Has had to leave the berries and what's left of a wood line. And it's 41 military for the Baguettes. It is 35 for Suomi. No real opportunity for a counterattack right now, though, for Max and his team. But, I mean, the upgrade difference is massive. The upgrade difference is insane. And it's so insane that I think that it could lead to them losing the fight. Like, not having armor is big enough. But not having bloodlines is just another massive reason why maybe Sito and Anna will want to wait a little bit here. Typical Margu, sneaky army, and then he sends in another army. He's so good at this. He's so good at this. They're not afraid to run forward without support. And they will catch teams off guard time and time again. Do we have 2 stables yet? I'm not seeing it. What about Max? Nope, can't afford it. Had to go for the wood line here. The monkeys don't attack you, but the Jags do. The monkeys are just for show. Sorry, monkeys. Looks like the fish have not been given up on yet. Max is trying to compete here too. And Anno sees that, and we have the great wall for Margu, as Margu is now diving on Velez. This is another crazy competitive game, but a little bit of misplay there for Margu, or just better micro for Velez, and Velez is going to defend this. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done, and these archers will also go down. Okay. So, I think Margu just looked back to that other group, maybe. Now, Margu's paying attention. It's pretty even, I guess. But it's really this fight that's going to make the difference here. We've got 11 scouts for both scout players. We have bloodlines now on the way for Anno. We do have Velez saving up resources to go up to Castle Age, which is pretty impressive. He's at 650 right now. Also has an army count, which is higher than Margu's. Zoopy getting there, maybe. Sito's not even close, dude. Sito's food eco is disgustingly bad. He's got 2 on food right now versus all of this. So they need those numbers to count. He does have more numbers when compared to Zoopy. Obviously, he lost 3 villagers earlier, and that has a big effect. Velez wants to take his team to a game 5. Deceptive Baguettes knew it wouldn't be easy to win here today. Like, this is a team that They have shown their value, their strength in this event, but I'll make another comparison to my team, Los Machos. We took Gamer Legion to a Game 5, but we lost in that Game 5. We couldn't execute. We couldn't figure it out. Will Suomi be able to bring it back? And I think if Suomi takes us to a Game 5, I mean, it's Suomi, right? Finland guys are just going to feel like, yeah, we've got this. The newer feel like, nah, you just haven't experienced as many Game 5s. If it goes to Game 5 and your Deceptive Baguettes. This is the game they want to take, and they're taking a really good fight here. That is a really good fight against Zoopy. So again, they're kind of on the clock a little bit to do damage, but Sito's using the market to try and figure it out. Zoopy's using the market to try and get up. And the counterattacking is going to be a tough task for Velez, at least because there's walls. I guess you can run around them or through them. My goodness. Meanwhile, we have an army over here for Sito. It's really hard for some of you to see this probably because the clash of purple and blue. Apologies for that. If you have color blindness, it's hard to tell the difference there. But this is Sito and this is Zoopy. Look at Max, dude. Max is going to try and chop as far away from this as possible. Look, Anno's looking for his woodline. Anno can't really see it. They're trying to find his woodline there. Okay, water has been quote-unquote won by Anno, but he can now only benefit from it and add a fishing ship. This army for Margu is being sneaky. This army from Sito has been found. All right. The armies that matter are all the crossbow armies right now. And Velez has most of his army over Max's base. And Max is in castle. Wow, I didn't realize he was on the way up. Oh, that's huge. So Max can make knights. Max can make knights. Velez has crossbows. Anno does have a lot of scouts. And we saw in the previous game how it does matter to keep them alive and go for light cav. But I guess Max has enough scouts where he can probably clear this. No problem. He just needs to wait for his light cav upgrade. Sito 40 seconds from hitting. I have yet to see Margu click. And, oh, he's in Castle Age. God, I'm sorry. This must be, it's been a long day. I was going to say that makes more sense. So pretty soon, everyone will be in Castle Age. Great job with Max on the defense. He adds the TC. That'll tell Anno, okay, he's had fish in this game, and he's also going to have the second TC before me. We need to kill. Okay, so Margu sees this. So they know this army's coming in. Meanwhile, Margu has to micro here. It's incredible. Both players dealing with their other armies, but they very much need to micro here. And you can see that Margu kind of struggling with that, as I'm sure he's doing a lot of damage control things at the moment. Trying to get this wood line, for example. Trying to signal out where this army might be for the team. And trying to send crossbows here to defend. Suomi have the military lead now, and they definitely have the tech lead too. Max has had armor on these light cav for a while now. And look at this force from Velez. Also has ballistics. Meanwhile, you have Sito just passing by Zupi. This will be fun to watch, but this is so bad for Anno. Oh, he gets hit on this side by the Max as well. So he's off of both of his wood lines. He's also off of gold, and he's off of his farms. Got very little economy at the moment, and now it comes down to what can you do, Sito? Because you need, if you can kill Vils here, your team still has a chance. If not, I think you're going to have some big problems because the Max is untouched at home. And the Max is going to be able to support Zupi pretty soon. Ring now for Velez. He has the highest Vil count in this game. He's now adding the second TC. And, ooh, Max. Okay, now they need to back away here. That's a big force. It's always tricky, right? You're adding more units, but you're adding more units from home. So you're separated from your reinforcements. Oh, my God. No way. Margu actually stonewalled this. Margu actually stonewalled this, guys. So now these units can't get out of here, which could lead to a big and important clear up. I would say just don't take the fight too early, Anno. Wait until you have Margu behind you, and then you engage. Yeah, this is good work from Velez. He sees crossbows, so he's like, well, I'll probably lose this army. Let's kill the crossbows when I can. And, oh, Max loops around from the other side of the pond. Oh, boy. Well, this should lead to all the crossbows going down. It also leads to a position where Sito still needs to do damage. Here he goes. His team's still behind in this one. That's an equal army trade-off, you could say. Still random units running around. And Max... Did he not lose a single villager here? He didn't actually lose a single villager there, which is insane to me. Also adding a third TC, by the way, in the corner. This is a very much a I need to protect woodline TC, not a TC you'd want to add. And we haven't seen a lot of it, but Zupi does have 20 army, and he's going to push forward now. Sito's going to loop back in on this side, though, and give him a piece of his mind. I mean, Sito is way ahead in army numbers. It's not even close over here. So it's good that Max can compete, because Max needs to support here. Also, Velez still with armies inside of Margu's base. Margu, 35 eco. There's no food eco. This is just going to be crossbows. But Velez, his economy looks so clean and crisp in comparison. I know it's only 2 TCs. I know it's only 11 farms, but still. So Sito's hearing this. Players will communicate. And I'm sure Zupi is saying, hey, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. But Max is like, listen, don't worry. I've got you. Normally, that's what he would do. He would come in with the Knights. I don't know why he did not. I guess it's because they don't want Velez to lose this position. And Zupi's like, yeah, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. He's not really fine, though. He's got the lowest population in the game right now, I think. Hey. But, of course, we talked about how much damage Anno took earlier. We know Anno doesn't have control of this wood line. And it's only 39 economy for Anno as well. This is probably close to the end. This is a big, big problem here for the Deceptive Baguettes, who played so well. And I think, for me, it stems back to how the dock was used. Or not used, you could say. But also, a lot of it comes down to, I think, Velez. Like, Zupi... Okay, no, I take it back. Overall, Finland played better. Zupi killed 3 villagers, early feudal, on Sato's base. And then Velez has been beasting it with his archers. It's like Finland is just getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on. And Velez will see this now and leave, and Max is now waiting to pounce on this. It's taken him a while. Oh, God, how did this happen? Zupi's tiny little army killed 6 villagers and denied an archer range. And that's how Sato wanted to come back. He wanted to come back with full gold wood and a lot of archer spam. Well, no. Another TC here for Max on the gold. Okay, and another TC on the gold. He's currently waiting for that army to show itself again. His wood line is pretty well protected, so he'll see it. He's just going to wait here. If he sees it here, he pounces. Otherwise, it's going to arrive on this side, usually. And then there you see Velez losing another army. Velez, of course, can make more of them, though, with 76 villagers. There is that army. Max reacts and saves the vills. And this is an army that might get some value, might kill some vills, but will also most likely die. Meanwhile, Zupi's just doing his thing, man. He's doing his thing. He's added his TCs. He's really recovered nicely with the numbers. It's not easy to do against Mayans, trust me. Mayans are just better playing into archers than Japanese. But we did see the Japanese bonuses early on pay off with the infantry. Max now sees this. He's like, okay, well, that's an area I'll keep an eye on with my knights. And look at this. Look at this. Max says, oh, you got crossbows chasing a Zupi? I got you, buddy. I got you. So he comes over here. Good work. Sato tries to hide them, though. Sato's still running with his army. Which is... You gotta hand it to him. And now Margu's come forward. This is something else. This Deceptive Baguettes team just makes so much military. It's like their fingers are glued to the hotkeys for archery ranges. Oh my goodness, dude. And it's exactly what you need to do, too. Like, they do hit the proper spots. If they have to react, they react, but they'll go forward immediately. He is Vietnamese, by the way. Oh, I thought he was Japanese this whole time. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you guys... I was about to say, I didn't say Vietnamese, guys. I said Japanese. Like, come on, listen to me. And Sato gets cleared. Sato calls the GG. He was about to lose everything here. I think they could sense, just purely based on the score at this point, that there was no way that Margu could compete with Velez either. You've got such a crazy score for Velez, which implies he's got the better economy. And yeah, he did. GG. I apologize. I thought it was Japanese the whole time. It was not for Zupi, but it didn't matter. And we go to a Game 5. This has been a back-and-forth series, exactly what we would want. And I think Bedouins is the final map? I think Bedouins is the final map. I'll need to double-check on that. Before we do, though, we'll look at the economies here. None of this should surprise us. This game was in favor of Suomi for quite some time there, but a massive eco difference between particularly what Velez did against Anno and what Velez was able to do, or Max did against Anno, sorry, and Velez up against Margu. I think Sato had a really good game after he lost his villagers, but you can't lose 3 villagers like that uncontested. Like, that's something that you have to scout. And I also think that Anno did a really good job after giving up the water. But just think that there were maybe 25 things of fish out here, and there's 250 food a pop, and it was uncontested until half of it was gone. I mean, Max just had such an easy feudalage compared to Anno and what he had to do, and it allowed him to do a lot of different things. All right, so important thing to remind you all of is that while there are good civilizations available that can be played on this map, you cannot play with civilizations that your team has already used throughout your series, okay? There's that. And then also on the front, on the screen we were just on, I think I showed that to you, there were 6 bans. So one of the better civs for this would be Indians, for example, or maybe Spanish. Those civs were globally banned before the series started, all right? Let's do our introductions. For Finland, we have Veleza here playing as the Chinese. Chinese, a top civilization. Both teams saved it for good reason. You get you have 3 villagers at the start, like any other civ, but then when you complete your TC, you get 3 more. And on Bedouins, you have instant food from the shorefish. The pocket position, so the carry role is going to be Cumin's for the Max. The Max is way back in the back corner. He will probably want to go for scouts like he did to help out his team in game number 4. Here in the blue, you have Mayans for Rubenstock. Mayans are going to be played just like Sato played in the previous game. Lots and lots of archers. And here you've got Anno. Anno's going to be going archers here. Anno's not going scouts, which is a big difference. He's normally played the pocket or central role for his team. He's playing Chinese. The pocket then is Sato. Sato's also gone for Cumin's. And then over here we have Saracens. A civ that is going to need to work here, I think, for the Deceptive Baguettes to work. Or to win, I guess you could say. Another thing to say, obviously there's a lot of shorefish on this map, but the thing about this version of Bedouins that I think differs from previous versions is there's actually 300 food per shorefish. A normal shorefish has 200, so I don't actually remember if normal Bedouins had 300, because this is a map that was seen in other events over the years, but I'm fairly certain that was customized, and there's even more food on each little area, okay? Now, when you think Saracens, you think 2 things. You think market, buying and selling resources is much easier, and thus with that, a fast castle, right? And then also melting buildings. Their foot archers do a very good job against buildings. Now, when you think Cumin's and you think team bonuses, you have to think that Palisades have more HP. And when I saw Deceptive Baguettes play this before, they went for a ton of walling with Cumin's. That seems to be the theme. A lot of people think, oh, pick Cumin's because you want the pocket player to go for 2 TCs and boom. But I think on this map, I think a big reason you pick Cumin's is for the Palisade walls, because archer players are going to want a wall, like here maybe and here, and they're going to want to play safe. That was a lot of stuff. We'll see what the economies look like. I do think though that this Velez versus Margu side is really going to be the biggest thing to talk about. Because Chinese have cheaper techs, their eco is way better long-term than Saracens, and I think they're overall better than Saracens. But if you can one-trick archers and do some crazy shenanigans with the market to snowball a faster castle age, that's probably going to be the difference there. It's awkward with this start, because you have to make your TC, and then sometimes you don't want to make a lumber camp before you make a mill. Normally, players are going to do both, but it's very, very awkward. Whereas on this side, by the way, you've got Chinese versus Mayans, and I think in terms of the meta and what's possible, Chinese and Mayans both can compete. I do actually prefer to have Chinese. If it's just archers v archers in team games, I'd prefer to have Chinese over Mayans, but you know, it's negligible at best. There's not any massive differences. Whereas you look at Saracens and it's just, oh, they destroy buildings fast, and you hope the market can work. So, what's this message? T90, are you going to throw us a party post-COVID with your 100% proceeds smiley face? How will that even work, dude? Like, the thing I want to do is I want to do a LAN this year near the tail end of the year with T90 fans, and maybe have there be an event there, and I don't know, a bunch of cool stuff. But like, then I'd have to keep track of where people were from when they supported, and I'm pretty sure my audience is global enough where not everyone would make it to the States, right? So To be honest with you, I'll probably be putting more of my own money into prize pools than ever this year, unless Microsoft really wants to pick it up. Last year, I put like $70,000 of my own money into events. I don't know. Like, I don't exactly want to put more than that into an event this year, to be honest. But we're going to have to feel it out and see. I will hold events and lands and meet all you guys. I know you're probably joking. But I don't know if I would. It wouldn't work like that. Like, okay, 100% of this goes towards the pizza at this party at this location, you know? I don't know if that would really work. But what I want to do, seriously, on a very serious note, is these guys are going towards their archer builds and their fast feudals, fast castles. I want to have a land this year in the U.S. At like a But I don't know exactly where it'd be yet, because I'd have to look at locations. I'd love to do that. I'd love to be able to meet fans. I want to have a room with like 30 PCs spread out. I want to have LAN parties. I want the whole event streamed. And I want like beer and merch giveaways and pizza. Like, I think that would be really, really cool. Just like one day, nothing more than that. There wouldn't necessarily be an event. But I think a lot of people who watch the YouTube content, if they were like somewhat close or really wanted to meet me or whatever, might show up. I think it'd be a really cool thing. Because I did a, what's the word? I did a meetup in 2018 when my audience was much lower. Like, I don't think I had even hit 100,000 subs on YouTube yet. And 12 people showed up. And I barely promoted it. I mentioned it in like one video. And I mentioned it on some streams. And we had 12 people. So I figure we'd at least have 13 people. With free beer and free pizza and Age of Empires, I think we'd at least have 13, and that'd be fun for me. So we'll see, man. I'm just trying to get used to a normal routine and all that right now. So okay, back to the game. So Max is going walls into a second TC. So he is booming on the second TC with the Kumans. You also see the same thing for Sato. However, Sato is like really late with the TC. Okay, Max is at 70%. And Max is also walling, so pretty big difference there. We got some walling, probably just due to some conversations on scouts right now. And, oh, Sato is going scouts as well. That was not something that I ever expected here, and maybe they're not going to expect it either. Rubenstock's going to be like, I've got scouts on me right now. And that is going to be a dead villager. Also, I think he just killed his own... Rubenstock just accidentally killed his own... food there. Probably just trying to move around. Here you've got some archers from Anno, so this is going to be a little 2v1 here on Rubenstock. But I wouldn't foresee Sato being able to afford that many scouts. But I'm wrong, guys. He might not be able to produce out of both TCs then. But he is actually going for the TC and the scouts. And normally you do one or the other. Oh, man. Rubenstock doesn't have fletching. Oh, Rubenstock doesn't have fletching. This is really bad. Why doesn't he have fletching yet? Is his blacksmith denied? He doesn't have a blacksmith yet? I don't think he was expecting this much pressure, guys. He will complete the tower, though. And the tower does keep him safe. But nice early pressure here from the Deceptive Baguettes as they can go in to get some damage and are going to continue to loop here. Rubenstock was also off of that gold for that period of time. So now he's going to take more losses to this. And this pressure is insane, man. Now, I think when they saw Kumans, guys, they probably thought Max is going to boom on 2 TCs. And they think that's the best play. And so they just thought, oh, okay, well, that's exactly what they're going to do as well. So I think that really caught them off guard. Max, though, does have 33 villagers. It is 31 for Sato. Honestly, I'm very impressed that Sato was able to balance all of this. And, I mean, you've got all the food out there, right? He's got some goats, too. He's got the shorefish, so he's figured it out. And you've got Velez on this side. Sorry he didn't update you over here on what was going on, but Velez is about to be Castle Age, and Margot hasn't even clicked. Which, I mean, we talked about this in particular earlier. Like, you gotta be able to compete with the Chinese. Now you've got Max on the way to Castle Age a little faster, so Rubenstock with a shaky start. But even he comes over here with a counterattack. It is more army for Suomi. I think Velez is going to be the key here, and he looked so good at the conclusion of game number 4. Can you switch Satoa and Anno's colors? I really can't. Like, the way the game is situated is the colors are... It's even versus odd, and that would probably break my brain. I understand that the colors and the way they flow in team games are not really conducive for watching, but I think for me, since I'd have to do it every time, I think it would just be bad. That would be better is if they tied positions down to something other than colors, and then we wouldn't have this issue. And then there wouldn't be different colors for players every single game. But, you know, that's just... That makes too much sense, I guess. I'm loving the pressure that Margu and Satoa are going for. And remember, Saracens do destroy buildings pretty quickly. The Max has to wait for knights yet. And this is working. This... Oh, God. You know what's so funny about it is, like, there's only 5 villagers in there. If he were to dive under there, it'd be a gutsy play. But he would have looped right around, and he'd be all over that. But you never want to do that, because you just don't know. Yeah, that's something I'm going to talk about. Hopefully we get it out this week. I have a video where I'm talking about things that need to improve in the game. And then I have a video where I talk... I'm not sure on the order, but I have one where it's like, hey, this is amazing. And then if anyone's like, hey, T90 is getting paid by Microsoft to say this, I'm going to release the things that are not so amazing. Because we want things better, right? So I think there's a lot of amazing things with the game, and there's also things that we want better. So I'm going to release separate videos on both. And I actually just reminded myself that my personal deadline was to finish that tonight. So maybe we won't do any gameplay after this best of 5. But you guys know what I'm noticing right now is that when I thought Velez was going to push out and do damage, he hasn't really done much. And he doesn't have a big army advantage over Margu either. It's 17 versus 17. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got Anno up, and Rubenstock is 2 minutes away from Castle. So overall, as a team, this is much better for the Baguettes right now. This is significantly better for the Baguettes. And it all might stem back to the fact that Rubenstock has really been stuck out here with no support from Max until a moment ago. See, this crossbow army wedged itself in there, which was pretty smart from Margu. Anno already has ballistics. I think you need to get out of here if you're Rubenstock, and then you need Max to deal with that. You do not want to lose your archer army, and oh my god, Rubenstock! That's really bad. This is really, really, really bad. Again, he's off of gold. You need gold for archers. 2 TCs right now for Anno. He's looking so slick, so clean. Amazing army production. And now you look at Satoa versus Max, and Satoa actually has a Vil lead over Max. Don't ask me how. I guess he was faster to the 3rd TC. Max, though, does have more knights. Slightly more. And Max could maybe pounce on this army, but it doesn't feel like he's confident in doing so. Okay, over here, some blood was shed. You've got 2 ranges for Velez. He's adding the 2nd town center. Love the TC. I think it's a good spot. I don't love the timing on the TC, honestly. Like, I think that if you compare it to Anno, it could have been better. But maybe Anno is just beasting it up. And actually, there's no maybes about it. He and Satoa will find Max's town center. Can the Deceptive Baguettes close it out here? They have a big lead now. Look at the Vil difference between Satoa and the Max. And then, of course, Rubenstock. He just now is getting his upgrades. But good opportunity for him to equal out the numbers a little bit. There you go. Pick off, pick off, pick off. Obviously, this is what Anno's doing. So Anno's trying to micro here. But in the process, uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was so bad. Because he lost the armies on both sides. Ideally there, I think you micro a little less here because you're going to lose anyways. And then you keep your army alive on the front. And suddenly, oh, God. Oh, no. Anno's down to 5 army and Rubenstock's got 14. And Rubenstock should know, like, full-on 3-range army production here. Like, you shouldn't... I don't know why he's only producing out of 1 range and not the other, but I don't think you should ever try and boom in this position. You just got to go for that kill. Greg, thank you, by the way, for the gifted subs earlier. We are at like 515 subs on this platform. I never really set a goal beyond 500. That's what I wanted to hit over the first couple months. We've hit that, and we'll take it from there. But back to the game here. Looking at night numbers, and that's similar. In theory, though, you should have more night numbers for Sito because Sito's economy is so much greater. And if you look at the resources for Anno, and you look at the resources for Margu, especially because Margu's now in a second town center, and is buying food, we are definitely seeing... Look, both players are going to try fast imp. Both players are going to try fast imp here. And I like it, because you have the night player that can outmass the other night player. They might not know this, but that is actually the case. And then you out-tech on the flanks. Now, where it's a little iffy right now is that Anno lost all of his force, so Anno can't really contribute. So this is where they need to defend against the 3 Finnish players. But especially with Saracens, you get Arbalest in, and you just melt all the buildings. The TCs will go down, the archer ranges will go down. So Finland needs to deal with this now. And guys, if you're worried that you're going to get pushed by some type of a fast imp, you will normally see villagers go to stone. So keep an eye for that. You're going to see villagers go to stone because they'll think they might need towers. Or sorry, more notably a castle, I'd say. I'm with whoever's in my chat, though. Sitoa's had an amazing game. He had more to do than Max with how they played it. Max just walled and added the second TC. He made scouts, and he also went second TC, and he has outplayed him. He's outplayed the Max, there's no question. I also think Anno outplayed Rubenstock, but he allowed Rubenstock back into it. And oh god, that's the Imp TC! That's the Imp TC! That's his only TC! Where's his army? No! He can't even switch it to another one! Have we been deceived by the Baguettes? I thought they were going to maybe do this here. Oh. Now, you do get the resources back, but it really doesn't feel like the time. Oh, jeez, man. That hurts. And now he's got to buy stone and buy wood, and he's got to do it all over again. And now, like, Max's night number is on par with Sato's night number. And now your army was, like, super tiny. You're behind in crossbows, and oof. You still have Anno, though. You still have Anno. And Anno hits Imp. Now, if Anno would be hitting Imp right now, getting Arb alongside Margu, I honestly feel like Finland are kind of toast. But now that you have Margu so far behind, like, we could easily see Imp for Velez soon. We could maybe see it for Rubenstock soon. Like, this could even out with 3 people in Imp, or at least 2 and 2 being the flanks over the next minute. Like, you could see it now, right? And look, Max is going to go up. So, in 5 minutes' time, let's say everyone's an Imp, and it's rather even. But for now, you have Arbalest versus no Arbalest, and we're going to see a statement castle on the front. I like that castle. The thing is, though, you don't have that many Arbs. Ideally, they would have had Anno's Imp get delayed, because he is on the other side, and he's already going to be fine. And Margu, they would have wanted to have Arb, because Margu's eco is so bad. Oh my god, that's Velez's Imp TC. No way. They can take that out. Like, Velez either... He has to show his army here. Because if you don't show your army, they will focus your buildings. I think they will take the army because the army's a free and easy kill. And they don't know which TC is the Imp TC, but whoo! Okay. Rubenstock also imping in that TC. Guys. What is... I've never had TC anxiety before quite like this. Like, people. I guess if you have one of them, it kind of makes sense. But for Velez, like, this should have even been a conversation, man. Oh, man. Okay. I don't think this will go down. Because he's not focused on it. He wants to kill the army. And here we have a nice little dive from Sito. No reaction from Max yet. And which one's Max's TC? Okay, Max's TC is safe. But, I mean, he could still lose this one and all the villagers. Sito hitting Imp faster is such a massive deal here because, as I often remind you guys, armor takes so much longer than Bracer. So you need your Knight player and Imp faster, and then you need a minute and a half to get armor and Cavalier. Whereas Bracer Arbalest clicks like right away. So fast. Okay, Rubenstock makes it to Imp. He actually has crossbows inside of that TC, and he's falling apart over here. We now have Margu in Imp getting upgrades. We have more military for the Baguettes, more eco for the Baguettes. And that's mainly Sito. He's got 40 more villagers than the Max. The Max has been under pressure. Remember, he lost that TC earlier on as well. Also, most of Rubenstock's military is out of position. It is on this side, so he might not be able to defend himself here. We have an ARB v ARB battle over here. And some amazing quick walls from Max. But I think maybe this is a position if you're Sito where you're like, okay, we'll stay here. Max was like, come on in. And Max was expecting them to say, oh, no, it's fine. I have my own place. Thank you. Thanks for the offer and leave. But instead, Deceptive Baguettes is like, oh, yeah? You want me to stay? Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, thanks. I think we've all been there. Well, it looks like Deceptive Baguettes finally read the room, realized they should get out of here. But look at this purple swarm going against Ruben. Ruben doesn't have a TC right now. But he's about to run out of villagers. Meanwhile, we have Cavalier threatening. We have Arbs threatening Velez. And, guys, with Paladin on the way right now for Sito, I think that Deceptive Baguettes are going to move into the semis. I'm so pumped for this team if they can pull it off, man. Obviously, I've been Finland fanboy #1 for so many years. Such a fun team to watch, but New Kids on the Block might have looked like clickbait on YouTube 2 weeks ago. They went down to Gamer Legion in the group. They didn't make it out of the group in first place due to that team. But they made it here against Suomi, who was first in their group. I do not see how Finland can recover from this. I don't see it. Here, dead. I guess there's a lot of economy for Velez. But all they need to do is Rubenstock's out of the picture. Okay. They don't need to worry about TC drops and Imp either, so that's a good thing. And they just turn this right back around, and they just stomp this army in a second. And meanwhile, you have more Cavalier running right through the middle, and they're going to go hit Max, or hit Velez, or hit somebody. 3 seconds away from Paladin. Paladin's about to hit. This is where they turn in and they take the fight. Max clicks Paladin. He's 2 minutes away. He's 2 minutes away from Paladin. They need a patrol here from Margu. Margu needs to help with this fight. He does so. He's obviously microing here as well. Now the Paladins come in. And the GG is called. Congratulations to Sito, Anno, and Margu. I know that their whole team's really in on it, too. Like, they're all pumped for him. Locke and I think Scotty's on the team, too. I think you've got Baba Rum out there. Anyways, they've got a big team. Long story short. And I talked to all the members on their team. And they're all, like, really a part of it, talking about strats and rooting them on. And Deceptive Baguettes do it. Max, Velez, Rubenstock, Zupi, all the Finnish players have just been like, they have been a core of the Age of Empires 2 competitive scene, a core of that team game scene for, let's say, half a decade now. Like, you look all the way back to 2017 team games, Finland's probably top 4 there, right? You always had Tyrant back then, or Secret, now Gamer Legion. You had, like, the Aftermath kids coming in around then. You had Finland, and then you probably had China. Small shout out then to Vietnam Legends. But anyways, Deceptive Baguettes. Never heard of the team name before. I was excited about it because it was something new. Also slightly annoyed because it doesn't fit on my scoreboard. But you know what? They deserve it. I'm going to have to fit it into my scoreboard for the semifinals. And congratulations to them, man. I have so much respect for them and their strategies. And they've shown that they really have what it takes to beat big names. So good for them. Sito, though, and I think this is the mark of a good team, actually, is when you can have any player carry. We had Anno carry in instances. We had Margu do great things in instances, and then Sito. But Sito carried this game. Sito was so good. And the KD shows it, but the economy more than shows it. I mean, outplaying the Max when playing Pocket into Boom, into like stable units is just very hard to do. There's very few players that can play that position as well as Max. You'd normally look at Sito and see an Archer player, but my goodness, did he look good there. Maybe they need to stick to that. Maybe because they'll be up against Aftermath now in the semis. So maybe they'll need to stick to that. I don't know, man. But yeah, I think them making it to the semis is going to be a great, fun watch for us. I will say this. This obviously has small spoilers, but I'm going to pull up the bracket because, okay, you guys could see this. Sorry, I just zoomed in. Yeah, I'll show you what happened in the quarters. So my team, Los Machos, we fell to Gamer Legion 3-2. That was tough for me to figure out what to do with content because I casted some of it and I also played in the first 2 games. So it was tricky business. We'll see if maybe I add it in later. White Wolf Palace beat the Amigos. So Yo, Lix, and Vivi playing good. They're going to be up against Gamer Legion on Saturday. And then Aftermath, we casted earlier, won 3-1 against Vietnam Legends. They looked really strong. And then we just saw Deceptive Baguettes. So I think the standout result was probably the Baguettes beating Suomi. And we'll see if they're able to carry on that form on Saturday. I will cast both of these best of 7s. And then I will cast the final as well. And all those things will hit YouTube eventually. No promises on if they'll be like immediately after the game's complete, because we try and stack up the content and space it out a little bit. But that's the plan. Cool.